Allocation formula, yes, that's it. Now, let's move on. The ODM party has asked Migori County Assembly members to impeach Governor Okoth Obado, who is facing graft-related charges that have seen him barred from accessing his office. Obado is also facing murder charges. To talk more about this developing story, I'm now joined by Steve Ogola, an advocate. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us on News Desk.
Yeah, good afternoon, Grace.
Great. Straight on to what the orders by the anti-corruption court meant, barring him from accessing the office. This is not the first governor to be barred from accessing his office. We did see the former Kiambu governor, Ferdinand Waititu. We've seen Lenol Kulala of Samburu. We've seen Nairobi governor, Mike Sonko. So what does this barring from accessing his office mean?
Well, it just means, Grace, that Governor Obado should not be performing the functions of the Migori County governor. It is not about restriction from accessing the physical location where the office is, as I saw him misrepresenting. When the court finds that you have been tainted and you have breached public trust, that is a separate finding that relates to the ethical concern in relation to that office. It has nothing to do with criminal culpability. So when the court says, because of those ethical concerns, you can no longer be trusted with the responsibility of presiding over the public funds in the same manner as you used to do before the charges were preferred against you, and then the court directs that you be barred from accessing your office. The court is not saying that you transfer the office from the physical location to your house. The court is saying that you should stop performing the functions of the office of governor, which in substance relate to performance of those functions during the public trust, which has now been breached. So the law is, Governor Obado, constitutionally speaking, should not be performing any function. That is what barring means in the law. It is not being barred from accessing the physical location of the office. Grace.
Get to more on service delivery now that he has been barred from accessing his office, and you have explained what that means rather. But then there is word that he plans to hold a cabinet meeting. Is this in order, coming from the orders given by the anti-corruption court?
It is illegal and irregular and also unconstitutional for Governor Obado to purport to convene a cabinet, because if he does so, he risks being considered as violating the bail terms, and which may mean that his bail may be cancelled, and then he may be held in custody. So it's upon Governor Obado to choose what he wants. Does he want to secure his freedom during the pendency of the corruption cases he's facing, or does he want to interfere with the bail terms, the conditions of his release, and thereby risk cancellation of his bail and be confined in a prison facility? Let him decide. I would not urge him to attempt to manipulate the court order, Honorable Mugambi's ruling, that bars him from accessing that office. So if he does convene a cabinet meeting, then you can expect that the DPP or the ESCC will move to court to seek orders cancelling Governor Obado's bail terms, and then he will now suffer the risk of being confined in a prison facility.
Let's now talk about the service delivery or how the county affairs in Migori have been affected. I just spoke to the leader of majority Migori County Assembly, Mr. Ken Ouma, and he says nothing has been affected. But then again, it's just a few days since all this pronouncement by the ODM party and even by the court was made. But then let me just get your thoughts on that, sir.
Well, you see, we do not expect, or the Constitution does not anticipate, that in the absence of the governor, functions or operations of the county should be derailed. Why? If you look at Article 181 of the Constitution, it says that if the governor is removed for reason of gross misconduct or suspicion that he may have committed an offense, and Governor Obado ticks the second box, the suspicion that he's committed an offense under the law, and that is why he's been charged, the deputy governor should take over and act in that capacity, pending his clearance at the anti-corruption court or pending his impeachment. So there cannot be a vacuum in terms of the functional operations of the county.
But then one would argue, Mr. Ogola, why did ODM, for instance, not propose for his impeachment once he was charged with the first case, which we all know about? He faces some murder charges, you know, that of Sharon Otieno and her infant. So why now? Why is this motion being moved now and not then?
Grace, it is because impeachment is a political process and is a political tool to be used by political parties and their leadership at their convenience. The law has a very limited role in terms of shaping the procedure for impeachment. So a governor who is facing murder charges, he is suspected to have committed an offense under the law. Remember Article 181, one of the grounds for removal of a governor is suspicion of commission of an offense. And Governor Obado was already facing murder charges. In circumstances that are shocking and disturbing, if you look at the manner in which Sharon Otieno was killed, I think ODM ought to have pushed for his removal at that time, but we can say that politics was in his favor. Otherwise, Governor Obado has always been a man fit for removal since he was arraigned for the first time in the murder trial. It just so happens that this time round, both the law and the politics are against him. And therefore, it's very easy for ODM to demand its removal. When ODM is demanding Governor Obado's impeachment, although you can read political connotation in that statement has the pride of place or the backing of the law. So if you are doing that which the law requires you to do, it does not matter the intention. But yes, Obado ought to have been removed from the first instance that he was charged, except that politics saved him. Grace.
In his favor. Those are your words, Mr. Ogola. But then does that mean that one can easily walk away with any crime provided politics is on their favor, on their side?
Certainly, yes, Grace, because this country is steeped in impunity. I mean, we have structured impunity in this country. We have a history of disobeying court orders, violating the Constitution, antagonizing the institutions created under the Constitution, so that the only time the political elite, especially, the only time they get to comply with the Constitution is when what the Constitution demands or expects from them matches what is politically convenient. Otherwise, as it is, Governor Sospita Ojamong of Busia County should not be serving in that office. Because you see, the philosophy of stepping aside, of being barred from accessing your office once you've been arraigned in court, should apply across board. And Governor Justice Mumbi Ngugi's ruling can apply retroactively, meaning in any active case, because Justice Mumbi Ngugi was merely interpreting and breathing life to provisions of Article 73. So in a perfect setting, Grace, Busia Governor Sospito Jamong, Samburu Governor Samson Lenol Kulal, Mike Sonko, Nairobi Governor, these are men who are fit for removal. But for some inexplicable reason, or for reason only explicable in terms of politics, they are still in office and they are enjoying political protection. So yes, this is what happens when politics is in your favor and when politics is against you. The law does not necessarily have a binding effect when you're talking about compliance where political leaders are implicated. Otherwise, all those people, including MPs and MCAs, any public official, elected or appointed, having been arraigned in court, the philosophy of resignation or stepping aside or being barred from accessing that office and performing the functions of their offices should be applying across board. Why it does not apply is because of impunity. It is because of disobedience of court orders.
Lastly, Steve, because we need to wrap up, just talk to us about, was it in order for ODM to be the ones initiating the impeachment of Okoth Obado as opposed to the county assembly starting it? In less than 30 seconds, sir.
The proper procedure should have been the assembly to initiate it, but it doesn't matter whether the assembly did it or they were directed by the party, because if the assembly was going to do it, the assembly is going to do it on the strength of the advice by the party. So that is like splitting hairs. It is neither here nor there. The law is Governor Obado, like any other governor facing corruption charges, should be barred from accessing the office. So it doesn't matter that ODM initiated it or the assembly.
An advocate, thank you for joining us on News Desk. Let's move on. Western residents have supported the move by the Council of Governors to shut down all the 47 county governments as a result of the current revenue sharing stalemate at the Senate. They are terming the wrangles at the Senate as politically motivated, demanding that senators should take responsibility of the outcomes of the